Alright, start off with some puzzles. .ex sign. Get a little puzzle warm up in. I didn't realize I was in check. Ah. Ah! Ah, I couldn't get queen takes. F6 in time. Not terrible for a warm-up. Alright, let's hop into action. This is crazy. I appreciate it, Cello. Alright, let's hop into our first game of the day, chat. We're also live on YouTube with a wider view. If you guys would like to watch that over General Zod Chess, let's go knight to d5. Appreciate the heart me, Michael. Shout out. This is insane. Hell yeah, bro. Appreciate it, Cole. Let's play an Alekine's defense. What up? Happy Saturday. What's up, A. Patrick? I'm not gonna lie. I'm used to just saying AP Patrick. The Teddy Zod of oats. Love to be ho. Yes, sir, Bob. Ain't talking builders. How long have you been playing chess, Zod? I've been playing since I was 3. My parents got me to the game when I was really little. / hide chat. If you wanna hide the chat, you just have to hold down right on the screen and hit clear display, and that'll hide the chat and all the extra stuff. The hoodie is dope. Thank you. It's probably my favorite hoodie. Alright. In order to play sharp, you gotta look sharp, chat. Scientific fact. Probably. Let's go here. Might try and spice it up. Maybe d5. d5, c5, knight c4, takes, queen a4, going after the pawn. I don't know. I guess I'll just play bishop g4. There's also maybe knight to b4. I think I lost a game playing knight to b4, and he like played bishop to b1. I captured the pawn, and then he played pawn to a3, kicking my knight back, and I blundered like a piece or something. We need you against Jake Paul in a chess match. I would play Jake Paul in a chess match. Zod, do you watch any other chess streamers? For the most part, not really. At the moment, at least. Like, sometimes I'll look at, what do you call it? Some of Hikaru's streams on YouTube every now and again. Just because I like watching such a high quality level of chess. It's just crazy to me. But I'm kind of out of the loop when it comes to the chess scene as a whole. Let's go bishop to f6. Just target the pawn on d4. What time is it where you are? It's noon right now, 7 minutes past. The stream last night was crazy, 1.2k viewers at one point. Happy for you, man. I appreciate that, Travis. I don't know why there were so many people on yesterday. I mean, I was pumped. It was sick having a play in front of a huge audience. But it also felt like there were just a ton of people on. Maybe because it was the weekend. I want to go bishop to g6, I think. And then I'll just capture with the h-pawn. Generally, you want to capture towards the center. You don't want to capture your pawns away from the center, especially in this position, because if I were to capture with the f-pawn, then the e6 square would be really weak and undefended. It's more important to defend those central squares most times. Appreciate the 3 roses, Joan. Appreciate the follow, XD. Shout out. So it goes there. I could go d5. Whoa, that's just a blunder. Knight b4. I mean, the game's probably going to continue, unless this guy doesn't have much fight in him, because he takes on g6, I take on c2, and then the new imbalance of the game is a queen in exchange for a knight and a bishop. That's definitely the way to go. You don't want to play something like queen b2 or queen d1 or c1, because you're just giving up a free piece. It's better to play in this position with an imbalance, at least in my eyes. Maybe my opponent will see it differently. Do you play in tournaments? I did a lot when I was younger growing up. That's what the trophies behind me are from. I stopped when I was like 16 for the most part because I started playing hockey. Traveling out of state. Appreciate the follow, Elizabeth Jones. Shout out. So he does go for this. Now I need to just basically make sure it's a free piece. Looks like a free piece. If I take on d3 with the bishop, I'm threatening to capture his knight. He can't move the knight because then I take his rook. He can play pawn to a3, attacking my knight. But then I capture his knight on e2. If he captures back, I just retreat. I think I just take with the bishop. If I was white in that position and I had blundered, I would have sacrificed my queen there. Because even though I know I'm worse, at least the imbalance to the game changes, meaning there's some differences in the position. It's a lot less easy and straightforward for my opponent, or black, to play. Let's go back. Pretty self-explanatory move, just retreat the knight. Now we're up +3 on material. So one of the easiest ways of converting a material advantage, or converting an advantage into a winning position when you're already ahead on material, is by offering to trade pieces of equal value. The queen is one of the biggest or most valuable pieces you can trade, because if you're ahead that much in material, an in-game heavily favors you. Goes there, logical. I'm pretty tempted to play d5. If I go d5, he goes c5, I go knight c8. He goes knight b5, I go knight e7. He goes knight takes c7. This should be fine. d5, just reroute the knight. back to c8. Even if the c pawn falls, there's no like fork or anything, so I should be good. Just reroute. Appreciate the follow, GGM. Appreciate the follow, Scuba Shiba. Appreciate the follow, Not Chat, we gained over 1,000 followers yesterday. We did the marathon stream to celebrate hitting 60,000 followers last weekend. Alright. And we're already at 65,000. We're already like I'm already gonna have to start, what do you call it? Planning the next marathon stream. I mean, the support has been insane, but shout out. So if I go knight to e7 here, that's what I'd like to play. And he goes pawn to g5. I could play knight to g6, and then his queen would be under attack. He could move the queen, but that would loosen any square he moves the queen to, h4, and be guardable because my knight guards it. Any square he moves the queen to, the d4 pawn would fall, so I could move my bishop out of harm's way and take the pawn. This looks good. Appreciate the follow, Carl Williams. Appreciate the follow, A1 Dandy. Appreciate the follow, Kevin Fernandez. Appreciate the follow, 05814. Appreciate the follow, Camden1311. Appreciate the follow, Tristan37 Lembracos. Now we go knight to g6 like I was talking about, and the queen is under attack here, obviously a more valuable piece than the bishop that's under attack. So he moves the queen out of the way, but moving the queen out of the way weakens the defense of the d4 pawn. Now my bishop can capture it. We're already up a piece, but that's no reason or should be no excuse to like mentally clock out of the game and stop paying attention, or stop trying to find the best move, right? It's very easy to mentally let your guard down, kind of mentally breathe, just take a mental like a sigh of relief whenever you get like a large material advantage. You're like, okay, now I can relax, stop paying as much attention, see what's going on in the world, practice my golf swing, all that good stuff, instead of having to focus on this chess game. But the cruel thing about chess is you can play brilliantly for 49 moves, but if you make a mistake on move 50, it can cost you the game. So pawn to c6 here looks very natural. I also have knight to f4, but I think just pawn to c6 is fine on its own. And now I assume like knight to d4, or sorry, e4. I can't take the knight because my queen would fall. No, he extends his pawns over here instead. Let's go ahead and get our rook on the open file. Activate it. This knight serves as a beautiful blockader. I'm threatening a fork, and I'm also threatening just put my rook down there. He extends over there. That hangs a pawn. Do I want to capture the pawn first? If I capture his pawn, where does his queen go? Obviously taking the pawn is a good move. I'm just trying to see if I have a better one. Like knight to h4. I don't know. A pawn is a pawn is a pawn is a pawn. I'm gonna take it. Rook to f1. I go rook to e3 first. But he goes queen to f3. Let's retreat the knight now that we've taken material. We're up a minor piece and the exchange here. Now I think that's the move that should just put the game out. I have a fork. I could also go rook to e3. Looks like all roads lead to Rome. Rook to e3 allows queen takes f5, but I just take his queen, he takes my queen, and I take his knight, the rooks come off the board. Or I go knight to e3 for the fork. I think, again, all roads lead to Rome here. So I'll just go for the fork. Maybe the other option would make him resign faster because the queens are off the board and he's down a bunch of pawns, but I don't know. It looks like all roads lead to Rome here, right? Zod, I have an over the board tournament tomorrow. Any tips? I would say enjoy it and try and use it as a learning experience. I think a lot of people have the misconception that you need to be a certain skill level in order to play over the board, when in reality, playing over the board will help you achieve a certain skill level. Because over the board tournaments and games, because yes, they're a little more high pressure, But because of that, everyone's concentrating a lot more. You have more time. You're going to have more time to think. And because of that, the ideas you're able to come up with are going to be a lot stronger. You'll also, because you're sitting there just staring at a chessboard, you'll also remember the game a lot more in depth than you would a normal game. Let's go for the fork. All right. Ops blundered early on. I mean, that was a very, very clean game. Very, very, very clean game one. Do you understand it now? Wasn't much to understand in that one. All right. Understand I was better. Appreciate the Rosa, I Blame Beanie, and the 3 Roses. Shout out, I Blame Beanie. First career gifts to the channel, baby. I see you. Appreciate the game controller and the Rose 4L. Shout out. We played at 96% accuracy, chat. All right. But also there wasn't a lot to like mess up. He made it a very easy game. So the start of this is pretty standard. I play the Alekine's Defense, where I don't get a lot of space, but in exchange I get 2 pawns I can turn into targets. I'm gonna win the game because of that. I play bishop to g4, bishop to h5, he castles, and now I play bishop to f6 here, going after the 2 pawns like I was talking about. He plays queen to c2, and now I play bishop to g6, and now he plays the blunder pawn to b3. Here he should have just captured the bishop, and now I have the move knight to b4, hitting both the bishop and the queen, so on the next move I'm going to be able to capture his bishop. If I'm my opponent here, I would play bishop takes g6, pawn, knight takes c2, and then bishop takes c2. And now black is up a queen, and white has 2 pieces for the queen. Black is still definitely a lot better, but the position is still early in its development, so white doesn't have like a bunch of weaknesses or anything, and he can play this game on, and it's very, very possible for black to trip up, right? Because you create an imbalance in the position. It's a different position. Instead, he goes queen to d2, and this makes the position a lot easier for me to play. Even the computer thinks he should have sacrificed the queen here, because now I'm just a clean piece up. After bishop takes, he plays pawn to a3, attacking my knight, but instead of reacting to that, first I capture his knight, and now if you capture my knight, I can just take your rook, and after you take my bishop, I'll be up an entire rook instead of an entire piece. So he captures on e2 with the queen, and now I retreat, and like I said, I'm just up a extra knight, and there's no other difference in the position. That makes it a lot easier to play, because while my opponent has to come up with some way of drumming up like some kind of attack, or coming up with some kind of way to get his material back or equalize the game, all I have to do here is trade off pieces of equal value, and I keep doing that, and eventually, right, if everything of equal value comes off the board, it's going to be a king and knight and a bunch of pawns versus just a king and pawns. King and knight's always going to win. So after queen to g4, I don't even have to like find an idea or anything. I just have to play queen to d7, and now I'm offering to trade queens. Obviously he can't allow that. I take away space, and now I just reroute my pieces. I capture the pawn, right? You can't capture my bishop here. I mean, you can, but your queen's under attack. Obviously queen's far more valuable than a bishop, so that's why he moved his queen first. He had to move it out of the way. Now I get the pawn on d4. He tries his best to come up with counterplay, but I mean, once again, the extra piece just makes all the difference in the world here. Very, very smooth game. All right, and we get the George W in game 1. Appreciate the follow, Anthony. Appreciate the follow, Nectar Lima CDN. Chat, we're also live on YouTube right now over at General Zod Chess. If you want to check out the stream over on YouTube. We're up against the same op. All right, 2490, baby, 2490, 2500 on the way again. We're trying, Blake. All right, I'm smelling it. Appreciate the follow, Avery Hurst 38. Appreciate the follow, Mo 92. Appreciate the follow, Tuan. Shout out. Appreciate the follow, yeah. Appreciate the follow, David W. Congdon. Shout out. What's up, Christian? What time is it for you? It is noon. Appreciate the follow, 6 foot skinny Jamaican. Appreciate the follow, S Gargs. What's up from Chicago? Shout out the Windy City, baby. Appreciate the follow, Fuzzy Pants. Appreciate the follow, Lex Luthor 1933. Appreciate the follow, Butta Mac. Appreciate the follow, Blank. Trey Mails with 11 roses. Shout out. He goes knight to c6. We're playing a closed Sicilian here. I'm getting ready to go knight g to e2. The reason you put the knight here in this line instead of on f3 is because I have plans to push my pawn to f4, and I don't want my knight blocking the pawn's pathway when I do that. He goes pawn to d5. I think I take, he takes, I play d4, and then if he plays something like bishop to g4, I play h3. I think so. And then we play d4. He captures on d4, so I think I'll just capture back. Love it when you talk through the games. Best streamer on TikTok. I appreciate that, Russ. I do my best to explain my thought processes. Sometimes the position will get super complicated to where I'm not completely sure what's going on, you know? Contrary to popular belief, the general is not an all-seeing chess eye. I wish I was, but there are times when I do not understand the position. I think I understand, but it's kind of like a battle to see who's going to be proven right about what's more important in a position. I think here I castle. The ops also castle. This is a really, the f5 square for white is generally a really strong outpost for the knight, so I'm going to put it there. It's a very open position, so if I can force my opponent's bishop off the board here, I think that'll have really good long-term impacts for me. Because bishops usually thrive in positions where pawns can't clog everything up, where they don't cut down the scope of the bishop's diagonal. How do you figure out how to make progress after the beginning of the game? So after you make your development, you castle your king. Generally, you want to connect your rooks. You want to make sure that happens. And if you're the aggressor, right, I think it's important to figure out if you're the one who's trying to attack or if you're the one who's trying to defend, or if it's a very kind of stalemated position where neither side is really doing either thing. He goes there and calls me out pretty hard with the move. And the question is, if I take this pawn now, I mean, a pawn is a pawn is a pawn is a pawn, right? It's actually, I could go knight back to e3 if I really am not sold on what he's doing. He goes d4, I take, he takes. It's awkward looking, but I'm gonna do this. I don't trust the ops here. But the question is, if he takes the knight on e3 with his bishop, do I take with my bishop? He plays pawn to d4, I take on c6 with my bishop. He takes on what, e3? I take on... I could just retreat, takes. Looks messy. Appreciate the follow, Joey Mad. Shout out. Do you think your queen is in danger? No, not the queen itself isn't in danger, but the queen is the only thing tethering the knight. Meaning, if I leave my knight there for another move and he attacks my queen with like knight to b4 or knight to e5, then maybe my queen has to move out of harm's way. So he goes for it, and the question is, what do I take with now? Do I take with the pawn? Or do I take with the bishop? Takes with the bishop, he pushes the pawn with the fork. So I take here. He takes the pawn. I take his pawn on b7. That looks very drawish. If I take with my pawn, he plays knight to b4. My queen would be forced to d2 for a square. But I think I take with the pawn and go from there. Your queen would be open? Well, my queen would be fine because it's tethered to the pawn and I could always queen swap. So I don't think it's necessarily in danger. Ops retreat. Let's go here. Whenever you're playing against an isolated pawn, or a pawn that has no protectors on either side of it, right? It's important to control the square in front of the pawn. He goes there trying to go for a double attack. If I go here and allow it, he goes knight here. You could always just go queen to d2. I think I just continue rerouting. It's important not to see the boogeyman in chess, right? If you have an idea, but your opponent tries to generate a threat against you, it's important to see if you actually need to respond to that threat or if you can continue with your idea. Because if you respond to a threat that doesn't actually exist, that will usually make your position a lot worse because you're wasting time that you could be spending getting your army into position. Appreciate the follow, Arda. Or thank you for sharing live, Arda. Shout out. Thank you for sharing live, Yidi Nikosi. Learned a lot from you, Zod. I got a live. Appreciate it, G. Appreciate the follow, Malls Job. Could take here. It would give me the pair of bishops, which is generally really good. If I go c3, bishop to d2, he takes on d4. Bishop d2, he takes. On d4, I take. He takes here. Rook to c1. His queen could flee to g6, so it's not a queen trap. I think I'll just go c3. Only 5 minutes left on the ticker. I gotta pick up the speed. Appreciate the follow, Tyreek Williams. Shout out. One of the most entertaining chess streamers. I appreciate it, G. Appreciate the follow, Slaying Vortex. What do you mean one of the most? Top two or not two, baby. Top two or not two. I wanted to play bishop to d2, but he could capture my knight on d4, and then if I capture with the queen or the pawn, my pawn on c2 would hang. I looked at it in my head and I was like, I feel like if he did that, it would be a good position for me. Like his queen would almost be trapped even. Unfortunately, almost only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades. So, the almost trapped queen does not get us a winning position, right? Almost counts in some things, but not here. He wants to go into an endgame. If I take... Probably going to take with the rook. What are my other options? Like queen here. Let's just take, play the endgame. Takes with the knight. think he had a lot better. Let's go b3, kick the knight. Let's go here, hit his rook. Defend the pawn. Here, here. Here, here! And goes there, putting more pressure on the pawn. If I take... He takes, I take. I don't like this. Might have gotten myself in a pickle. c4. Then what? Knight to d2. Rook to f2. Or rook to d1 is definitely better. Alright. Gotta play quickly. 3 minutes left on the ticker. If he captures the pawn, then his knight on e4 doesn't have any defenders. I didn't have time to calculate everything, but I mean... Which means there's chances he could have something really good here, but... Calculated it enough. Maybe there was... I don't know, this position feels a little unstable for the ops. Maybe I even had better, but we'll see. Time's winding down here, so I'm going to need to play quickly. Appreciate the follow, Jason. Shout out. We're also live on YouTube right now, chat, over General Zod Chess. If you guys want to check out the stream with the wider viewing, or this is the first week I've been streaming on YouTube, so I'm still newer, getting used to it, but I'm trying to get used to handling like multi-streaming. It's still taking some getting used to. At least the ops are in the think tank. He retreats the knight. If I take, he takes. I take here. Could also go bishop here, maybe. There's also knight b5, huh? Yeah. Yeah, I'll just get a salad. I can go... Thanks! I gotta pick up the pace. Knight b5 threatens a fork. How does he deal with it? If he goes... Alright, I'm just gonna go with this. I'm just gonna trust my gut. Gotta pick up the pace. Appreciate the follow, Philip Carr. Oh, the YouTube is General Zod Chess. Appreciate the follow, Deficit Upstairs. Do you do Twitch too? Not at the moment. Appreciate the 20 roses, Sonny. Shout out. I do have a Twitch channel though, General Zod Chess, but same as the YouTube. What's up, Hattie on YouTube? Shout out. He goes there. Now if I take... I see why he did it, because if I take here, rook a6 hits the knight and bishop. Bishop c5 and he has b6, so that's no good. I think I take. If I go here, he takes, and I take, then he takes, and I take, then he takes, and I take. I could take here, takes. Gotta be careful not to overthink it. Appreciate the 11 Roses Tri-Mill shout out. Appreciate the follow Miss Honey Games. Alright, we're boiling down to the final minute. It's basically going to be a bullet in-game. Gotta look for the best move, but gotta trust the instincts to get most of that done. Hit the rook and the bishop. He can take here. I'll take here. If he takes here, I take with check. He takes, I take. Knight versus bishop in-game, but I double his pawns. Pawns on both sides of the board. About as much as I could hope for out of this position, I think. Did I just blunder? Oh my gosh. Ay, ay, ay. Do we really not make a single mistake that game? Or you clutch out the George W? Wider view is nice, says Austin. Oh, you too? I appreciate it, baby. Ay, ay, ay. Ops played very well. Time pressure kind of took a toll on me at the end, but we got the George W. You're not 2700 bullet for nothing. GG's on. I appreciate that, Leftist Carb. Appreciate the follow, Alex Marchi. Appreciate the follow, Get Off JT. Shout out. Baby Yoda in the back. 5 rating points away. 5 away from 25 hundo, chat. Alright. It doesn't like knight f5. I regretted the move after I played it. None of these moves are like losing the position, but they don't like make the position better for me. There's no mistakes, as in there's like no true mistakes that lose the game for me, but I don't improve my position with a lot of these question marks. So we play an in-game. Now, knight to e4. Okay, I found pawn to c4, which is the right move. Knight to b5, which I felt was also the right move. And now here I thought I was better, but I don't think I played the right move. Takes on d5 did not feel like the right move. I couldn't figure out what was, though. Pawn to h3 was apparently the best move in the position, just to keep him out of g4, I assume. Alright, beyond my mere mortal eyes. And now, knight takes e8, we take. on f6, and now it's an in-game, which is basically a draw, but bishops are typically better when there's pawns on both sides of the board because they're longer range pieces and they can get across the board faster than a knight can. And my opponent's pawns are doubled here, so they're a little awkward looking. Appreciate the follow, Reset Banana. Appreciate the follow, OG Dragon. Shout out. Bishop to b2, king to e6. And now the game is still a draw. It's still a locked up draw, but now he plays knight to e5. And in my head, I'm like, wait a minute. If I take and go into a king and pawning game here, I should have an advantage because my king is a little more advanced up the board than his is, right? Mine's on the 4th rank, and his is on the 6th rank, or the 3rd rank for black. So I'm further advanced up the board than he is. I have more space, and so I play pawn to g5. That way, if he goes pawn to f5, I can capture en passant. After pawn to f6, the game apparently just over on the spot. King to d5, and now I play pawn to h5, running my opponent out of moves here. I'm going to get the last move, alright, and now after pawn to e4, I just move my king back. He can't defend the pawn anymore. My opponent is in zugzwang, which basically means every single move he legally can make loses him the game, right? If it were my turn, then I would be losing, but instead it's his. So now he takes, and now I go here. Very important move, because now in order for his king to get out of the pawn's way, he has to go here and here, waste an extra move, versus just going here and letting the pawn run, right? And now after king to h4, because he has to take that extra move, all right, even with 30 seconds left, this is why you study the in-game, kiddos. This is why you study the in-game, baby, all right? So you can clutch out wins like this in time pressure. Now I just make it easy. I probably could have stopped the pawn because my king, I think, is close enough, but I mean, 16 seconds left, right? No reason to overcomplicate it. I just checked him first, right? So he couldn't get another pawn move in, hit the pawn and the king, captured the pawn, and then just traded my queen for his queen, got a new queen, and we got the George W. All right? One game away from, well, potentially one game away. Depends on who we find for, what do you call it? The next rapid game. It's this guy again. Is there no one else? Oh my gosh. All right. This guy gets on the goat. I appreciate it, Beavis. Zod, I really hope that you're going to get really famous someday. There's literally no other streamer that's so chill like you. Fame is overrated, chat. All right, just do what you love. Enjoy that. Appreciate the sunglasses, red leg. Appreciate the follow, heart. Appreciate the follow. I think that's Arabic. Appreciate the follow, Pingo. Let's go bishop to e7. Tournament's odd. We might do a viewers tournament in the later stream today. I'll probably, for the later stream today, for this one, I'm just gonna probably push rapid, and then the next stream, that's like 5 p.m. today, I'll probably try and reach, what do you call it? Maybe do some guess the elo. Appreciate the follow. This is CODFan94, or we could say guess the elo for Sunday. So he's still going with this line. Appreciate the follow, Just Hop. Shout out. Castle. It's the same line we played in the first game of the day. Same exact line. So where's he going to switch it up? I guess he's just not going to play. So if I go knight to b4, he goes bishop to b1. I take. Okay. I'm going here, hitting the bishop. If you move the bishop, I get the pawn. I'm going to be the one changing up the line this game. He moves the bishop. But this hangs a pawn. How much elo for the win? If I win this game, it's +4 rating points. So we're not at 25 hundo. We'd be at 24.99. So close yet so far. Appreciate the follow, Kamikaze Cab Driver. Shout out. And he's like, alright, fair enough. You got me, I messed that one up. Let's go pawn to d5. Claim the center of the board here. Hmm. I mean, takes on e3 looks very natural. There's also maybe pawn to c6 instead. Guess I'll just chill. Pawn c6. What's up, Trevs? We're also live on YouTube right now, chat, over General's Odd Chess. If you guys want to check out the stream in a wider viewing platform. Alright. Always on the live ground. Yes, sir, Bob. I ain't talking builders. We're already at 26,000 likes on the stream. Shout out to everybody tapping it up. We're already at over 100 follows for the stream as well. Oh my gosh. I appreciate all the support, chat. That's crazy. We haven't even been live an hour yet. Appreciate the follow, Random Dude and the Sandwich. He retreats the bishop and protects the pawn. I think I'll go here. Just develop. Zod, didn't you trap your knight? Which knight? This one? Or this one? I don't think either knight is trapped. Now, they might have to move back, like this guy might end up having to move back to a less than ideal location. Maybe. Or he might just go here. I mean, bishop a3, I can go knight c2. Pawn to a3, I think I go knight, let's go bishop g6, just retreat. Things like, development and your pieces being placed in ideal squares / setups matter a lot more in open positions where change on the board is imminent. If I go here, I could also challenge him on g5 and go here. Because if I go bishop f6, maybe he challenges me on e5 with his bishop. I don't think I'd love the look of that. I'd also go knight to d3. I don't know, I think the dark squares are some of the weakest squares in my position. Notice how my pawns are already on light squares, so the dark squares are pretty weak, so I feel like if I trade off the dark square bishops, or force a trade of the dark square bishops here, or, I mean, I guess he can take my knight, I feel like that's really good for my position. Appreciate the follow, Hot Dog. Thank you for sharing the live art. Shout out. He goes queen to d2. I thought he would play that. I don't think I, like, mind it. Mind it isn't, I don't think it, what do you call, is that detrimental to my position or anything to where I need to be worried about it. You go rook to e8. Or knight to d3 immediately. And then where does his queen go? His queen, if I go knight to d3, his queen retreats to, like, what, d2? I go queen f6, threaten the pawn. Looks pretty good. It'll be important not to take up too much time, I think. Appreciate the follow, sclurge34. Appreciate the follow, strategist. What's up, Lazar? What's up, Chess Reloaded on YouTube? Shout out, baby. What's up, Don? Also on YouTube. Hey, Zod, I really like the YouTube. Stream more than over TikTok. Please don't stop doing it. I appreciate that, baby. Still getting used to it for sure. Let's go queen to f6 and hit this pawn. He goes there, attacking my queen, but it looks like the pawn on d4 is just loose here. Loose as a goose. Strawberry mousse. So I don't mind if I do. I'll take. Pawn is a pawn is a pawn. I think queen to b4 is pretty smooth. There's no way of attacking my bishop. Yeah, you can't really hit the queen either. I mean, you kind of can. Actually, I should have put more thought into it because he has knight takes d5. I don't think it works because I can take and my queen is protected. But say knight takes d5, queen takes d2. There's knight to e7 check. And your knight is not attacked. I don't think it works because I can take on d5 first and my queen is protected by the knight on d3, but should still be aware. What game is this? This is chess.com. You can play it for free on the browser like I am right now on your computer, or you can download it for free on the App Store or Google Play Store on your phone. The white position is in preparation to checkmate. Definitely not. They don't have enough attacking power. Like, you can move your queen over here and it looks scary, but there's no actual forcing threat. Like, I can play queen takes here. And all of my pieces are very, very close to the defense of my position. So I don't have to worry. Like, they can generate threats, but because I have so many pieces around my king, the threats aren't going to materialize into anything, you know? He plays bishop back to e2. I can also go maybe knight to e4. Feels overcomplicated. Knight to e5 looks the most natural. Oh wait, is he going for... Wait. Is he going for that tactic that I was just talking about? He might be. In which case, let's see. So if I go knight c5, he takes. I take, and he has knight e7 at the end. Okay. So I see the threat, but the question is, how do I deal with said threat? If I captured this knight with my bishop, if I play pawn up one, what happens? He moves the knight here anyway. I take. Pawn up one. Looks like pawn up one is the move, but measure twice, cut once, and all that. Pawn up one, takes with the bishop, takes on c3. Where does his queen go? It can float over to h5. I go knight to d4, takes. There's no follow-up trick. Okay. Pretty sure it's d4. Appreciate the Rose Roman, shout out. First career gift to the channel, baby. I see you. Appreciate the Rose Manung, shout out. Appreciate the follow, Gleb. Because now if he goes knight to d5, I can just take his knight. Because if he tries to take my queen, it's defended by the knight. If he takes my knight here, I'll take his knight, and I'm attacking his queen with my pawn. So he can't play bishop takes, because I would take his queen. Appreciate the follow, Nathan Avitz. Appreciate the follow, the Sneaky Turtle. Appreciate the follow, Lorenzo Fay. What's up, Lowrider? Appreciate the 5 roses, Hunte Dante. Appreciate the follow, Madeline Karagia. Appreciate the follow, Nasty Nori. Appreciate the follow, Ryan Koich. Appreciate the follow, Justin M3. Appreciate the follow, KJ. Appreciate the follow, Jokic Miovic. Appreciate the follow, Catmeister007. We're also live on YouTube right now, chat, over at General Zod Chess, if you guys want to check out the stream with a wider view. Now we take. Hit the queen first. There's no immediate, like, true threat on the board. If I go here and he goes, like, queen to e5. Yeah, there's no reason to let him have a free shot at the e5 square going for mate. Let's go here. If I go c2, you go rook c1. Knight to e4 maybe? I can also just trade. 2 minutes left. I gotta go. I feel like this works. Wait. Takes. Knight back to f4. Rook to e1. Gonna trust my gut. It's unnecessary probably because I think I'm still winning if I just trade on d6. Okay. But now I take. And I'm still attacking the rook. Feels like there should be tactics here. Really feels like there should be tactics. I don't think Queen h3 was the right response. Let's take. Now I'm not so sure about the tactics, but we're up the exchange, and we have this pass c3 pawn. Gotta put pressure on the bishop, ASAP no Rocky. Oh, baby. 24.99, chat. 1 point away. Appreciate the follow, Ludo Star Planet. Shout out. Alright, we get the George W. Appreciate the GG Dance for Deuce. 1 rating point away. Alright, we have a bunch of friend requests. Let me go ahead and accept these real quick. I wonder, let's see. So we play the Alekine's Defense. This is my 3rd game of the day against this guy. He's the only op of the day I've found. And we played the same exact line, but this time it's me who throws in a change up. I play knight to b4 immediately, going after his bishop. And now after bishop to e4, it's just a blunder because I can capture this pawn for free. It looks like you have queen to b3 at first, attacking both knights. But after pawn to d5, not only is the bishop under attack, but this knight is defended, and so is this one right here. So that's why that doesn't work. So I just get the pawn for free, play pawn to d5, claiming space in the center. And now after we claim space, I just play pawn to c6, ensuring my control over the center of the board. He retreats his bishop back to c1. I play bishop to f5. I'm just up a pawn in this position, keep in mind. And now I missed a clean win on the board right away. All right, this is crazy. I missed a queen trap in the position. And now you go knight to d3. And the queen is trapped. It can't go here. because the knight cuts it off. Alright, I completely missed this queen trap. I was not looking for it whatsoever. I'm gonna be honest. We go back. We're still much better here, obviously, because we're just up a pawn with little counterplay for the ops. Appreciate the follow, Rufaro. Appreciate the follow, Smiley face, smiley face. Let's go bishop back to g6, bishop to f4, and now we just offer to exchange material. When you're ahead in material, one of the easiest ways of converting your advantage is by trading off pieces of equal value. Because you'll just be left with more firepower, and your opponent has less firepower, so there's less chances for you to go wrong. I'm better here basically the entire game, but now we just take the pawn, and now queen to b4, and here I had to be a little bit careful. For example, let's see, if I were to play something natural looking like knight to c5, then black is still better, but white is back in the game after knight takes d5. And it looks like a blunder at first because I just capture your queen, but then you play an in-between move, which is a move that interrupts the normal sequence that someone calculates. Knight to e7, a check. You cannot move your queen because I'm in check, so I have to move my king, and then you capture, and now white has regained one of the two pawns he was missing. So that's why I had to be careful here. So I go for pawn to d4, trying to eliminate this. He captures, I take, and have a passed pawn now. After queen to e2, I play rook to e8, getting both of my rooks on the open file. Now I go knight to e4, and here I play knight to d2. The position was so much better that I guess it doesn't count as a brilliant that I'm sacrificing material. He goes queen to h3. If you were to capture with the rook here, then I take back. And now, then if you try and, like, say, move the knight, for example, then I just go rook to e1, and it's curtains for white. You can't stop the promotion, back rank threat. So that's why he didn't go for this, for the people wondering. There's no, like, checkmating threat either near my king. Now I just capture the knight. He could have tried keeping his rook on the board. I think all roads were losing for white at that point because of tactics. We get the exchange, and now he just resigns on the spot, because if you take, back rank checkmate, or a GG. On to the next one, baby. We're also live on YouTube right now, chat, over at General Zod Chess. If you guys want to check out the stream with a wider platform, wider viewing platform, appreciate the follow Sauce, appreciate the follow Yoid K-Dog, appreciate the follow Caden AB. Appreciate the follow Anthony is for real. Appreciate the follow Jeff Golota. Appreciate the follow, I'm not reading that username. Alright, Hugh, you know who you are. Appreciate the follow Corey Cleveland. Shout out. This is a good stream. I do my best, baby. I do my best. Appreciate the follow Angel. Appreciate the follow BRDNRL. Appreciate the follow NadBC. Appreciate the follow Daniel Duarte Mindunka. Shout out. Appreciate the follow Joseph Rivers. Appreciate the follow Breeley Prince. Appreciate the follow Dillinsey. Appreciate the follow Jordan. Appreciate the follow YT per second. Appreciate the follow Ermias, appreciate the follow Aiden Foreign, appreciate the follow Senior Fishy, appreciate the follow Will Barber 208, appreciate the follow Duke, appreciate the follow DDWVRL, appreciate the follow Tree, appreciate the follow Mayar, appreciate the follow Risen, appreciate the follow 3SG3RA, appreciate the follow Bell, appreciate the follow Seabud Sim. Yeah, appreciate the follow JJ, appreciate the follow Question Mark, appreciate the follow B, appreciate the follow TT, appreciate the follow Logan Lunsford, appreciate the follow Cat, appreciate the follow Max, appreciate the follow Monkey, appreciate the follow Z4, Im987, appreciate the follow X, appreciate the follow Jesse, appreciate the follow, Father Tyler. Thank you for sharing live. Oh my gosh, appreciate the follow, Gat. Appreciate the follow, Matty 0320. Appreciate the follow, Sidded. Shout out. All right. I appreciate all the follows, chat. That's crazy. We've been live for a little over an hour. We're already at over 250 new followers of the channel. That's insane. We're gonna have to do a 70k follower live stream soon. A 70k marathon stream to celebrate hitting 70,000. We just did the 60,000 follower marathon stream celebration this past weekend. Alright. I mean, shout out. The growth has been crazy. Let's go knight back to D1. Appreciate follow Dooney, appreciate follow Wild Dez, shout out. Appreciate follow Abe. They want to see you hit 2500. I'll do my best, baby. So I haven't been talking too much about the game. This is a line I've played probably hundreds of times before at this point. It's a closed Sicilian. Let's see. It's either f4 here or bishop h6. I think I'll just play bishop h6. And then f4. Takes on h6 and I'll probably go knight to d4. So I'll just move the queen. I could move the queen back. Just play f4. He takes with this pawn. The drawback is that c3 or c2 would be very weak and open to attack, very brittle. f4. Versus queen back to d2. His knight reroutes somewhere, and then I go f4. Wait. Is queen back to d2 a blunder? Queen back to d2, bishop takes h3, knight takes d4, bishop takes g2, knight to c6. I'm just going to take. Alright, I'm going to trust my gut. Just play f4 and go from there. Oh. Do you offer lessons, Zod? I don't offer lessons or anything at the moment. I do my best to try and educate as well as I can, like in my games and my live streams. And a lot of my YouTube content is also geared at being educational to help other players, taking some of the advice or lessons I've learned from my games and passing it along, try and help other players improve. He wants knight to g8, I think. No longer have to think if he wants it. Let's go here. He goes g5. Where does my queen belong? d2? I think it's just queen back to d2. And then something simple, like rook to a7. What's the highest gift you've gotten? I'm not sure. The flying jets, I think, are worth like 5 galaxies. There's been some really rare ones, usually during the marathon live streams. Because those are the ones where people can donate to help keep the stream going for longer. Goes there. My knight is terrible at the moment. If I don't fix that, my position can't really improve. So maybe I should try and get him rerouted over here or something. Gotta do something to make way for the knight. Appreciate the follow, Nate Katati. Shout out. He goes pawn to f6. Okay. That move does have some drawbacks, I feel. Ooh. It's a nice snipe. Do I double up? No, I think I go here. Hit this pawn. But I don't take, at least not yet. Queen g4, queen f2 probably. Appreciate the follow, I follow back. Appreciate the follow, Al Flacco. Appreciate the follow, Bola. Ahmed. Let's capture. With the king, I think. So that this square is still under attack. And so that if he plays queen g4, there's no like queen h3 later on. Still down on time though. And on material. He goes there to defend the pawn. Very logical. It's the weakest point in his position. I go queen here. Let's go queen here first. Appreciate the follow, Niku. Shout out. He goes knight to h6. So if I capture, the rook is defended. I can go rook to a6 to apply more pressure. Or I could go rook to h1. I think just rook to a6. And he defends with the king. Okay, let's start with this. And see what he responds with. It's important to ask questions. Thanks. Flings the queen over instead. It's an interesting maneuver. Wow, queen to c8 might have been the move of the game. Three minutes. If I take on h6, he takes this rook. And then what do I do? I could take the pawn on e5. He takes my rook. So rook back to a4 feels really, really passive. queen here? No. Alright, you gotta make a move. Huh. Takes on h6. Takes. I'm completely stumped. I guess I go here. I don't know. I gotta move. I have a minute, but I feel completely stumped. Knight to d6 didn't work because he could just take my rook. Queen c8 was a nice find. Gotta play on. I don't know. Should I have captured on h6? It didn't feel like it worked. I felt like I was just losing the exchange and not gaining anything from it. Gotta go. I got 50 seconds. That's crazy. My gosh, what a move. This guy's playing the game of his life. Nah, rook a8 is a crazy move. This guy's underrated for sure. I feel like I've played against him before and he might have been like 24-25. Ash dropping the glowing jellyfish shout out and the rose. Alright, I completely missed that. My bad. I have 28 seconds left on the clock. And it's not a good position. I thought I had a lot of pressure, but my opponent, to their credit, has defended this position at least to my eyes perfectly. Maybe there's something that some way of me sacrificing that I missed, but I'm gonna be honest, if I did miss it, it was beyond what I am like capable of seeing in a game. But I get the feeling I probably didn't miss anything. Like, they're playing this game beautifully. Wow. Rook c7, and I think I'm just getting mated. Wow. Usually over the course of a game, I'll be like, man, if I just had done X or Y, I would have given myself a good chance, but credit to the ops here, alright? He played a gorgeous game. I mean, absolutely gorgeous. I made one blunder, but it ended up costing me the game. All right. Credit to him. I wonder if there was a win in there I missed. I'll go over and look at it. He played at 95.4% accuracy. All right. I mean, the man played a near perfect game. He played at a 2750 rating level, almost 400 points above his rating level. So he played a beautiful game. There were forks in there, but I'll show you guys why I could not go for the fork and just how beautiful of a game he played. So we play a closed Sicilian line. All right. I go pawn to, this is all very standard theory. He plays pawn to a5, trying to push her space down the queen side, and basically I'm going to try and push her space down the king side. That's the idea here. Appreciate the follow, Justin. Appreciate the follow, Ramadan. So after pawn to a5, queen to d2, takes on b4. This is all very standard. The reason I play pawn to a3 is because black is going to get the push no matter what, so I'm just trying to open up the a file for my rook, right? It's better a file be open than not. My knight retreats back to d1, also keeping an eye over this. He plays pawn to e5. I trade off the dark square bishops, and now he plays this really nice move, knight to d4. It's worth pointing out that if I were to play queen back to d2, there is this little tactic here of bishop takes h3, and now if you take, then there's just a fork, so black wins a pawn. So not really like a, you know, anything too crazy, but that tactic is sometimes there on a fianchettoed bishop. So now after knight takes d4, I play the move pawn to f4. He plays king to h8, and now I take on e5, and now he just plays, I mean, a beautiful game here. Knight to g8, realizing that if I play queen to f4 and pawn to g5, now my queen can't protect the pawn, so I retreat. He captures on e5. I get my rook down to the 7th rank, going after his pawn. He plays bishop to e6, defending everything, pawn to f6, locking the position up. I play knight to b7. He offers the exchange of rooks. Instead of going for it, I play rook to a6 here, and he finds queen to c8, attacking the rook and hitting the pawn on h3 at the same time, allowing him to gain a pawn. And after rook to what do you call it, a4, I should have doubled my rooks up, but I thought I could get some pressure on f6 maybe, but it turns out there was nothing there. Now after knight to c4, he takes, and I'm just down a piece here. He plays queen to f8, queen to f2 here, putting more pressure on the position, knight to h6, and now I play this move rook to a6, trying to put more and more and more pressure on the position. And now rook to h1 here. I thought I was a little better, but I missed that I was giving him this square. I need to go queen to f3 first, rook to h1, and now he plays the really, really nice move, queen to c8, right? This is one of the two forks in the position. If I go knight to d6 here, there's just knight to, what do you call it? Takes for the fork, and he's just up a piece, right? So that's why I didn't go for the fork here. It looks nice, but I'm just hanging a rook. So that's one of two forks. All right, that one's a little more obvious. There was a second fork on the board, and I'll show you guys why I couldn't go for that one either. And at this point, black is just better. He starts just outmaneuvering me in the position. And now rook to a8, in my opinion, was the nicest move of the game, because if I were to play knight to b6 and go for the fork here, it's actually force mate in 6. He captures with check. And now if my king goes like here, for example, knight to f2 is double check with the queen. And the knight, I mean, I'm just losing here. It's going to be GG curtains, or all she wrote. You take, king is forced back because it no longer has this square guarded, and he's just checkmate on the back rank. So seeing this by the ops, very, very nice. Rook back to f1, and now he plays rook to f7 to defend. I don't think I had any forcing sacrifice. And here, the same thing. The fork is, again, here for the third time. But once again, the checkmating threats get to me here. Never listen to chat. Queen to queen to e2. All right, knight to e3 was a very nice move, sealing the deal. And now I had no chance of stopping him coming in on c2. Very, very well played game from the ops. I think I've played against this guy before once. But that game by him was just brilliantly played. All right, we were right there, chat. So close, yet so far. All we can do, dust it off, try and move on to the next one. Play our best. Did you watch the Paul versus Tyson fight? Reach it asked on YouTube. I did not. Let's go knight to b6. We're also live on YouTube right now, chat, over at General Zod Chess, if you guys want to follow the stream with a wider view. -11 hurts, baby. Losing hurts. All right. When you lose to a low-rated player, they're 80 points. Oof. That's why getting to 2500 rapid is such a struggle, because the competition that you play against is probably going to be lower rated than you, but they're still very, very, very strong in their own right. So that means they're more than capable of beating you. As we saw in that last game, where the Ops just played a brilliant game. But in order to gain rating points at that juncture, you kind of have to win in like a 2-1 or 3-1 margin. For every loss, you need to win 3 games in order to gain rating points. Actually, it's more like every 4. Yeah. But I digress. Anywho, let's takes with the queen. We get the bishop pair. Could potentially mean something at some point. I think I go c6. Queen to d7 looks acceptable. Let's go rook e8. It's not like there's 500 mating threats on the board or anything, so I'm playing a little quickly here, trying to match the op speed, but also no reason to take more time than needed. Appreciate the 5 Let 'em Cook Sash. Appreciate the follow Dom. Thank you for sharing live KS. Appreciate the follow Dot. We're live on YouTube, yes, on General Zod Chess. Why are some chess players so toxic? I mean, if you have a game that's like, if you're good at the game, people are going to naturally say you're smart. And if you're really good at it, that means you have a lot of people telling you you're smart, which probably means you don't have a lot of people telling you you aren't smart, which can, not always, but, with some people, it can lead to them kind of getting in their heads that they can never be wrong or things like of that nature. Shout out Kramnik. He goes rook a to c1. I want to play bishop f6. He wants c5 push eventually. I think I'll just play this. Figure the rest out as I go. I did miss that move. I think I just gotta admit, bishop f6 was not a good move in retreat. Let's see. I could take on f3 first. Probably should. Takes on b6, I'd probably take here. Letting him get that free gain of time, not great. Appreciate the follow, Dennis. Thank you for sharing live, Mitchy Mitch. Appreciate you sharing live, Alexa. How is it glowing, though? I have arcade animations turned on. You can adjust that and turn them on in settings. It's only available in browser, though, so you cannot turn arcade animations on to get like the border and the after effects that I have if you're playing on mobile, which is kind of unfortunate because I like playing Bullet on my phone. So it'd be cool if I could get those effects and stuff. Although they do slow the game down a little bit, so I should add they aren't preferable if you mainly play Bullet. If you play something like Blitz, in my experience, it doesn't slow it down enough to really make that much of an impact. But in Bullet chess, where you're playing, as quickly as you can, tends to have a much bigger impact on the position. Knight versus bishop, eh? Alright, let's get ready to double the rooks up. I thought I was much worse, at least for a little bit there, but... Well, I don't know if this in-game is, like, great or anything for me. I don't think it's lost by any measure. I don't think I'm, like, much worse. Or even close to it at this point. I have control of the e-file, so that's something. And my knight has a nice outpost. His bishop's outpost, it would be much better for him if his bishop was, like, here and here. Because here it's a little too deep into the position. He can't really attack, like, my pawns or anything. Looks like a really nice outpost, but you gotta ask yourself what the bishop is actually doing at the moment, if anything. Again, I missed that move. This guy is sneaky with some of his moves. Very sneaky. Let's go queen to d2, I think. Goes rook to d1 as or f1 as I expected. I think I could have also played b5, but I think takes is going to probably be the result no matter what. There's no, like, knight to e3 immediately, at least. Try and go after his bishop or anything. Not that it couldn't be there eventually, but at least not immediately it's not there. Or at least immediately it is not there. He retreats the bishop. Now if I go here, he trades probably. I go here, and he plays like queen c4, and I play queen c2. I have the more active rook. I think that's the biggest difference in the position right now, or the biggest positive for me compared to his position. Appreciate the follow, Ronaldo. Appreciate the follow, Amazing Gamer. Appreciate the follow, Adam Guerrera. Shout out. Why not rook to e3? It would do a nice job of attacking the queen and the bishop, but his pawn could take me, and it would take me. So I would lose my rook and the game. Always have to consider, or do your very best to consider your opponent's best responses to a move whenever you see a move you really want to play. Appreciate the follow, Damien. Appreciate the follow, LV047. Sneaky. He wants queen to a8 with check. That's why he moved his queen over there. Through it all. He goes there. King back. He could have gone there to stop knight e3 because it defends g2. So maybe I'll just go back and see what he does. He goes back. Do I have knight e3, queen to a8, king here? I don't think that works. Queen takes b2, queen to a8, right? King back to h7, he's going to go queen back to f3. And the problem isn't just that the pawn is undefended. The problem is the diagonal is open. Play queen to c2 first, though, covering the diagonal. I might be able to play knight to e3 eventually, but not now, because if I do it now, he has, what do you call it? Perpetual check. Maybe rook to d2. Why not queen to b2, Zod? Because if I capture the free-looking pawn, then he checks me on a8. And he's hitting both the pawn that's now undefended, because remember, my queen's on b2 since you just captured the pawn. And then after I go king h7, I could take on a2, and it would defend the knight, and I'd be up a pawn, but because of the lack of my king's safety, I'm definitely not taking a draw, but I'm trying to get out as much as I can from this position. We're also live on YouTube right now, chat, over at General Zod Chess, if you want to check out the YouTube stream. Okay, he goes king to... It feels like he's trying to play directly against knight to e3, because if knight to e3 now, then he plays rook to g1. Do I have anything to uncork the position after rook to g1? Rook takes f2 doesn't work. I could go knight to f5. I'm going to play knight to e3, and then knight to f5, I think. Kind of a lot of this position is about, like, patience. Like, I gotta play aggressively, but I don't want to, you know, rock the boat too quickly, where I try to cash in on my positional advantage, turn into a material one too quickly, and he gets like a drawn position out of it. He's hitting both pawns. Do I have to choose between a pawn here? $230, gotta go. Play here, and he takes. Gotta go. Guess I'll just take. See what he takes. He takes that one. I thought he would. I'm gonna go against my better judgment and offer an endgame. Dre with the resubscription. Alright, shout out. I'm Nessie the locked in monster, Dre, but I appreciate it. Alright, 8 months in a row, Dre's been a Grandmaster of Krypton. That is insane support. Alright, my goal is the same. I'm pushing pawns whether the queens are on the board or not. $44 though. I gotta play quickly. I blundered. Oh my gosh, man. Oh my gosh. That's like the first true blunder of the day, but oh my gosh. Oh, I just hung my rook, chat. That is... ah, I missed it! Second life. I mean, kinda, not really. 22 seconds. I gotta go. First, think second. Move first, think second. Move first, think second. Let the fingers fly. Free queen. Okay, he can't stop it. Oh my gosh, chat. Oh my gosh. They don't ask how, they ask how many. We get the George W. One blunder. I wonder what the one blunder was. Alright. I wonder what the one blunder could have possibly been. Ay, ay, ay. Appreciate the GG Kane Westfield. Shout out. Oh my goodness. Appreciate the follow, Sergio Enrique. Appreciate the follow, Jace. The ops just missed the free rook in the position, chat. Alright, the free rook gambit. Never fails. Always, sometimes, never kinda works. Oh my gosh, man. Oh my gosh, what is that? What is rook to a2? I was just trying to attack the pawn. Oh. All I wanted was to hit the pawn on a3. Oh my gosh. Appreciate the follow, Pedro Galart. Alright, and he just completely missed it. That's crazy. Time pressure was getting to both of us. We both stopped like looking across the entire board and considering every possibility. We just kind of froze and both developed tunnel vision. I was able to get the game under control after this, though. And then here, just a blunder. He was trying to keep the queens on the board because he recognized that I was playing slowly, but he missed the fork. All right, played that in less than a second. Got him Johnny on the spot, and now, I mean, he has to just give up the rook here. He has to move his queen somewhere like here. To protect the bishop and trade into an in-game or something. He tries this, but it doesn't work because I capture the queen, and then you capture my queen, but now I get your rook at the end. Alright, we're not going to make any mistake with this much time. We get the George W with 9 seconds left. Back to 24.96, chat. Alright. Knocking on heaven's door. Knocking on heaven's door, baby. Oh, now we're up against this guy. This was the guy that kept me from 25 hundo last time. It's only right. Appreciate the follow, Nate Dallas. Shout out. Enough. Give him Magnus. I'm not going to be having any kind of score against Magnus if, what do you call it? I'm dropping rooks like that. Alright, let's hit him with a Benoni. He kind of takes his sweet time getting to the chessboard. A lot of players at my rating level decline the Benoni. Appreciate the GGB. Shout out. Appreciate the GG Third Degree Burns. Appreciate the GG Caden Westfield. Alright. CLB Vieira with the rose. Appreciate it. Sage TV with the rose as well. Shout out. Appreciate the follow, Michael St. Ellie. We're also live on YouTube right now, chat, over at General Zod Chess. If you guys want to check out the stream with a wider viewing platform. Alright, appreciate the follow, James. Appreciate the follow, Matthew Salazar Crash. Shout out. Who's your favorite Grandmaster, Zod? Probably Hood Chess. Let's go pawn to d6. And let's go, I guess I'll go knight b to d7. Probably b6, bishop b7. Shout out Hood, baby. I thought Hood Chess was like negative 500. Nah, he's strong, baby. Right? He's a Hood Grandmaster. It's beyond the powers of a normal Grandmaster, chat. Let's go bishop to b7. I think I'll also mirror with rook to c8. Is this the dude he lost to earlier? It is indeed. He retreats the bishop. Like pawn a6, maybe pawn b5. Create some squares for the knight, potentially. He goes there saying, if you want to make a play for the flank of the board, I'll make a play for the center. But I'm going to keep pushing anyway. Is this guy your nemesis or what? I mean, I've only ever played against him today for the first time, so I don't think you can call him my nemesis. But when you're, like in the higher rating pools, there's less people to play because not a lot of people have achieved that rating. So you tend to run into, not like always the same guys every time, but it's more common that you run into someone you played against before. If I go here, he goes a3. I wonder if I go b4. Where does his knight go? Knight a5? Or knight a4 maybe? Yeah, but then I get queen a5. That looks pretty good. I feel like I just go here. Queen a5. This This is entertainment. I do my best, baby. I do my best. Out of 100 games against Magnus, how many could you win? Probably 0. Unless it's bullet chess, in which case I'll probably take a couple of games. I'm not sure quite how many. Probably between 3 to 7, maybe. If it's bullet chess, like 1 minute. But any other time controller, I can play Magnus 100 times in a row and I ain't winning one of those games. Appreciate the follow, Big DZR. There's a big difference between me and the greatest player on the planet, you know. And it's not even just from a talent perspective, although obviously he is far more talented at the game than I am, but even from just a, discipline training standpoint, like he's been a professional and he's been training as a professional for like the last 20, 30 years that he's been playing, So it'd be pretty disrespectful to the amount of work that he's put in to get to the level he's at to, if I were to be like, yo, I could take him. Or not even like to that extent, I think. It's just more like, you should respect the amount of effort someone puts in to achieve a certain ranking, title, whatever it may be. I think far too often people think it's just like a natural born, like God-given gift. And a lot of the times, it's not to say it isn't, but everyone you see with that insane amount of talent, I think there might be a tactic here, by the way, with that insane amount of talent, has also put in an extreme amount of work in order to let that talent be maximized. Hard work will always beat talent whenever talent doesn't work hard. I could take on d2. He takes on d2, and I go queen to g5. He goes f4 to stop me. Could just move the other knight over. Knight c3. I think I'll just stand pat for the moment. Maybe I could have captured his knight first. Eh. Gotta bring more fuel to the fire, I think. c4, queen e5, knight b6, knight c3, knight takes d4. I think I'll just retreat. Let's go knight c3. And I can't take the pawn immediately because I just play d5, win a piece. I think I just go here. Appreciate the follow, Lausanne. Shout out. Let's go here. Hit this pawn. See how he wants to respond to it. Appreciate the follow, K. Appreciate the follow, Shron Kush. Appreciate the follow, Siri1333. Appreciate the follow, Arush Pathuri. Shout out. Let's go back. Goes a3, trying to stop that. If I go e5, takes. Nothing materializes that out of that, at least not immediately. Question is, how do I generate pressure? Some kind of attacking threat. Find a move. Gotta find something. Maybe a4, a5. Or a5, a4. Appreciate the follow, Toot Street Mom. Appreciate the follow, Blood Drop. Shout out. Dun, 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 dun. He wants to reroute his bishop. Defend the pawn. Or he might just want to push immediately. Appreciate the follow, Audrey. Shout out. TikTok has no music. I'm not running music on the live stream right now. Or, so yeah, there shouldn't be music on the YouTube stream or the TikTok stream, I don't think. Pawn on a5 is loose, his pawn on d4 is loose, my pawn on c3 is loose. A lot of loose pawns in the position. Let's go back. He retreats. He's up by a pawn, though. I gotta go. Gotta find some kind of move here. The question is what? I guess I'll play this. Cheat the GG Morningstar, shout out. He takes. Do I take with the bishop or the pawn? Probably the pawn. He retreats. I'm going to do the same, actually. Try and reposition my knight. Rook c8, queen f6 should be fine. Maybe queen e7, but... You play like Gary? That might be the greatest compliment I've ever gotten. Alright? I appreciate it. I wish I played like Gary. Some days I feel like I play like Gary, but... If anyone can ever be Mr. Chess, appreciate the follow. Ismail, shout out. He retreats the knight. If I go knight c5, he takes my knight, I take his... Or he takes my bishop with the knight, I take with the queen. You could try bishop g1. You could also retreat my bishop. Or is this better? Then he goes bishop to g1. And I have to take on d3. He takes with his bishop. I don't like that. So I'm going to play bishop here. I don't like how knight to c5 and the trades play out. At least not in my head. Doesn't look very beneficial. I go up. Yeah, let's just play here. There's a pawn gone, but I feel like that's good for me, if anything. More activity. When you're down on material, never be afraid of giving up more. And I think the dark square bishop is a really nice defender of his position. Holds a lot of the position together. Without it, there's going to be more chances for threats and things of the like. Let's go here to start. Now if I go f5, he can check. Don't let the queen in. Um, 47 seconds. I gotta go. Offering the bishop for free for the checkmating threat of queen here. Gotta move quickly. Gotta move quickly. Is that? I have no idea what's going on here. There's a free bishop on d3, maybe. I don't know how free it actually was, though. Hide the king here. This is his only check. 25 hundo, let's go! And we get it playing with the George W against the only loss of the day, chat, alright? We hit it, 25 hundo, baby. Alright, there it is. Ay, ay, ay. Revenge is best after you've tasted defeat, eh? Alright, revenge is sweetest after you've tasted defeat, chat. Just Paul dropping the galaxy, and we reclaim 25 hundo. Let's go. Ay, ay, ay. Alright, took a minute, chat. We dropped back down to like 2380. And whenever I would load up and play Rapid, alright, it was getting on my nerves because for like a week, everyone was like, Zod, what happened to your Rapid rating? Why is it like lower? You just start sucking? I was like, chat, it's hard keeping it up here, alright? I feel like I'm still owed about 24 rating points from that one guy I played last night who beat me like 3 times. That guy is definitely a cheater. His account is 1000% getting banned. Alright, not the cleanest game by far, but playing quickly, putting our opponents in time pressure, goes a long way towards getting in an advantageous position. We open with the Benoni defense. That's where I play c5, hitting a central pawn with a flank pawn. And the main line is to play pawn to d5, but you don't see this a lot at my level, which is one of the reasons I play it, because, I don't know, for whatever reason, people don't like playing it. I'm kind of the same way with the exchange French, but how do you deal with that stress after dropping so much elo? I'm gonna be honest, you kind of, it doesn't like, it's just kind of a natural part of the game, you know? There's gonna be some days where you're either like tired, you haven't eaten a lot, maybe you're sick, or maybe you just run into opponents who are playing really, really, really well at the top of your game. Whatever it is, mouse slips, all these things, like, at some point, they're human parts of the game, so no matter how good of a human you are, the human factor will factor in. And so rating fluctuation, whenever you're trying to improve, people think, all right, if I'm trying to improve and I'm actually getting better, my rating should just be going straight up. And that's kind of not how it works at all, because when you're improving, improvement begins at the edge of your comfort zone. And it's a lot harder to find and, you know, refine that new muscle memory, that new way of thinking. So it doesn't always show in rating points. I think the biggest thing is just you learn, like, that's just part of the grind. No matter who you are, you could be Magnus Carlsen, Hikaru, Gary Kasparov, Bobby Fischer. At some point, you're going to hit like a new personal best. And then it's important to just remember that isn't going to be the highest rating I'll ever reach. You should always try and press on, press on, press on. That is how you improve. You should always take pride whenever you reach a new personal best rating, but as long as you continue to improve, you're not playing to not lose the rating, right? You're just playing to win a chess game. The improvement will come, and you, what do you call it? You will keep achieving new peaks. So after pawn to b4 here, he plays knight to a5. I didn't think it was a great move. My queen attacks him over here. Now, after pawn to b3 and knight to e4, after knight to d2, I thought I might have some tactics with, like, for example, takes here. And now I'm threatening checkmate with the queen and the bishop in one move. And you're like, ah, not a big deal. I can defend it with like pawn to f3, but all of a sudden, now black is winning because bishop takes d4. And now if you take the bishop, then I can take your queen, no problemo. Alright, so then you get something like pawn to f4, but then bishop takes e3. Alright, hitting the queen and the king. If you take, then nothing defends g2. So this is what I was looking at. It doesn't work because instead black has pawn to f4. And then if you take the pawn, I just take your queen, right? So anyway, I looked at this line, it didn't work. Instead, I go knight d to f6. He goes knight to c4, and I play queen back to d8. He goes pawn to f6, and now I hit him with knight to c3. He exchanges on c3, I take back, and now he plays rook to c2, which the computer doesn't like at all. It thinks targeting the pawn with your queen is stronger in this position. It still thinks the position is more or less equal. Knight to d5, and after rook a to c1 and bishop to h6, where I'm targeting this pawn, now white's starting to have an advantage. But after pawn to f4, white was overly concerned with my threat against e3, right? He knew I wanted to sacrifice the rook. For example, if you just do a nothing move like takes, I'm probably going to sacrifice here and end up taking here. And my position should be enough to make up for the lack of me not having a rook. So he goes pawn to a3, preventing me from playing knight to b4. I probably should have just played knight to b4 anyway, to be honest. I think I was probably better there if I did with the bishop pair, even though I was down a pawn. Rook to e8, I knew instinctively was not a good move. And now I knew I was at least a little bit worse in the position because I was down a pawn. And I still am down a pawn in the position, so my opponent can just play on here, and he has a nice advantage, but I knew my opponent, like, he likes going into these deep thinks to make sure he's playing, like, pitch perfect. Shout out Anna Kendrick. And when you do that, it's good because you want to measure twice, cut once, but then you're running the risk of what everyone sees every single game I play, right? You fall into time pressure, and when you're in time pressure, you're a lot more liable to make mistakes. There's 64 squares on a chessboard. You have to be paying attention to every single one of those and the squares that each of your pieces and your opponent's pieces impact. If you're trying to do all that in just a couple seconds, it's not going to go well. So that's what happens here. My opponent starts making mistakes, not blunder mistakes as in he's giving away material, but he starts overthinking, overreacting, getting scared. The computer doesn't like this move because the knight is positioned really, really well here. He moved it here because, like I said, the time pressure. He was worried about me moving my knight away, attacking this pawn and the bishop, and his knight would be under attack by the queen. The computer says you don't need to worry about that, and I'm sure if he took long enough to think, then he would come to the same conclusion. But when you only have a $1.50, you get the feeling of, okay, I gotta play quickly. But notice how I'm also doing my best to move quickly in this position because I don't want to give my opponent time to think on my time. When you slow down in a position where you're vastly ahead on time, obviously there's going to be some points where you're like, okay, if I make the wrong move here, it could cost me the game. Let's slow down, make sure we get it right. But there's other times where you just have natural instinctive moves and you want to make sure you don't give your opponent the chance to think while they're on your time, right? They have to think on their time because that'll lead to them using up more time. You see he uses 9 seconds here, right? And now I take my time thinking a little bit here, trying to shore up the position, making sure I'm not losing. He finds knight to d6 in time pressure. This is a very, very strong opponent. I play the move bishop to c7, complicating the game. All right. The idea is after knight takes b7, it looks like it just hangs a bishop. I play queen to g3, and I'm threatening checkmate here. But after king to g1, white can survive and run the king away with king to f2. But my opponent he has 54 seconds here, right? He doesn't have time to calculate, can I take this knight, queen to g3, king to g1, queen to h2, king to f2, and then how am I escaping? He would have to bet the farm on it, and he didn't want to. Instead, now he plays queen to c5. I play queen to g3, and the position is now winning for black because this battery is coming a lot faster. He plays rook to f6, the best move on the board. I might have been able to capture the bishop on d3 here, but instead I opted to go ahead and keep the biggest threat on the board alive. Not only is it the biggest threat, but my opponent has to take time figuring out how to progress. It's important to note he can't cut me off here by playing pawn to e5, right? It looks like it just seals the queen and bishop battery, which it does, but then a new queen and bishop battery opens up and it just checkmate in one. So he was looking at all these natural moves, seeing that they didn't work, right? And then he had to look twice and thrice, and when you do that, it takes up time. You're calculating, and calculations take time. I knew that. Put my opponent in time pressure, and now he plays the move bishop to c4. At this point, no matter what, I'm going to be up a piece, but I wouldn't have been up a piece or in this situation to begin with unless I just put my opponent in time pressure. And now, just a couple moves away, all right, we go ahead, get the George W, get back to 25 hundo, all right, that's what you like to see, chat. Very, very, very slow game, all right, went very smooth, very nice, but we pushed back up to 25 hundo, all right, shout out, that's what we like to see, all right. I'm going to go ahead and take a break, chat, and watch some college football Papa Zod, and go ahead and eat lunch. There's always people wondering what I'm eating. I got a chicken center salad. Zod's breakdowns are insane. I appreciate that, Joe. Appreciate the Let Him Cook OS3 Richie. All right, shout out. Appreciate the GG as well. But we did make it back to 25 hundo, all right? That is what you love to see. Unreal stream, chat, all right? We have hit 25 hundo, over 400 new follows on the stream. You're leaving your 700 viewers? Listen, 700 people, all right, that is insane and it's awesome. But come on now, college football Papa Zod. Priorities, baby, priorities. We'll be back later today for the normal 5 o'clock stream. I also got to eat. But, all right. We did hit 25 hundo, chat. That deserves to be celebrated. That is not an easy accomplishment, alright? $25 hundo, baby. Alright, make sure to check out the YouTube channel, General Zod Chess Chat. Alright? When they ask how we hit 25 hundo, this is the song we're playing, baby. Alright. Do you know any word in Spanish? Hola. Zod's way, baby. Took the blows, chat. Did it Zod's way, baby. Alright. Thank you guys again for stopping by the stream. I appreciate all the support. The link to join the channel Discord is in the bio. We also been live streaming on YouTube, so make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel, General Zod Chess. Alright, chat. Thank you guys again for all the crazy support. Over 400 new follows. We'll be live again 5 p.m. as per the usual. Way to go, Zod. Thank you, JP. Appreciate the galaxy, baby. Appreciate the follow, Tiago. Alright. Thank you guys again, chat. Appreciate the support. And remember, alright, as always, to end the stream, when the world is cruel, choose to be kind, baby. Alright, I will see you all later. Have a good one.